Really is such an honor to be here for this purpose. I remember, if I was to reflect on 4 years here in the state Senate, hands down, the one item, the one memory that stands far and away above anything else that I'm proud of, that's done a great service to our nation's finest, our heroes, is the Senate Republican Conference, almost a decade ago, creating the PFC Joseph Dwyer Veteran Peer Support Program. That started in 4 counties. My home county of Suffolk was one of those counties. And the way that the veterans and the veteran advocates, the community came together to let that veteran with post-traumatic stress disorder or traumatic brain injury know that they shouldn't feel isolated and alone, that there's someone who lives around the block from them, a stranger willing to drop everything on a moment's notice to save that veteran's life. PFC Joseph Dwyer came home looking like he was in one piece. He had the mental wounds of war, and he lost his battle. But because every single year, the men and women who I'm very proud to be with today, fighting as hard as they can, all in for this funding, I get to hear stories of veterans talking about how this program saved their life. I get to learn about new counties standing up this program to save veterans in their county. And it has been an honor to help lead the effort to take a model here in New York that works, is proven successful, and try to expand it nationally. Every veteran in every corner of America deserves to have that resource available to them. In Suffolk County, it's not just peer-to-peer support now. You have access to training horses, or maybe you can meet America's Vet Dogs in Smithtown and you can get a pet, or it's fishing. And the way everyone has come together, not to just medicate that veteran in need, but to find other ways to overcome the mental wounds of war. This program saves lives. And the men and women who are here fighting so passionately for this funding, and anyone in this building, on any side of the aisle, it does not matter, fighting all in on this effort, thank you. When I first got to Congress, veteran service organizations, their national commanders would talk about the need for the Dwyer program. They didn't really know what peer support was, but what they knew was that in New York, there was a model that was working. And if you go back and look at the American Legion National Commander's testimony from just a couple weeks ago in front of a joint session of Congress of the Veteran Committee in the Senate, the Veteran Affairs Committee in the House, that national commander was advocating for the Dwyer program to be national. The veterans shouldn't have to come here every year begging for this funding. Why do they do it? Is because an executive budget comes out from the governor proposing to defund this program. Why? Why are you making those veterans come up here begging for funds that save lives? At what point is it proven to work? At what point do you get emotionally invested in that service that's being provided to want to do something about it? So it should be permanent. Every county, all the veterans advocates in New York should know that next year they're not going to have to come to Albany and beg for this funding. The year after that, they don't have to come to Albany and beg for this funding, because right now, with this opportunity, with a state budget that has to get passed right now, this legislature seized an opportunity and made this funding permanent. I'll just close with a quick story. Last night I was at dinner and I called a woman named Olivia. She's a young girl who lives in my congressional district. She's a member of the NJROTC. She's one of my nominees to the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis. I got to call and break great news to her because she's been waiting to hear back from the Naval Academy. And I got to tell her that the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis is offering her a 4-year appointment, class of 2025. And her dad was right there on the phone. It was on speaker, and they were so emotional about it. What kind of a duty do we owe to Olivia and her generation? After going through an entire life, I mean, we have a life, for many of us, our lives can be broken into 2 parts, before 9/11 and after. For people right now who are applying to United States Naval Academy and West Point, our service academies, all they have known is post 9/11. They've seen the deployments, they've seen the deaths and people who have been injured. They've seen the cost, and yet their hand is raised and they're willing to serve, and they should know that we here in this state capitol have their backs. And Senator Ortt, for your service on so many levels and this conference, our veterans should know that this conference always has their backs. They will be here now, they'll be back next year if the vets have to beg for it, but this conference will do everything in their power to make sure that they don't have to and the money is there. So thank you for inviting me up to Albany to be part of today's press conference. It really is a privilege. Thank you for fighting a good fight, for your passion, your patriotism, for fighting for Olivia and those who are off to serve, knowing that you all will have their backs day in and day out.